Hello there, Jerry Norton. Thanks for joining me on this video. And if you're watching this video, then you have an interest in using my proof of funds letter. But before you use it, I do want to take a minute and just talk about and help you understand and make sure you understand how to use a proof of funds. So let's kind of start with way back from the beginning, or the basics of how proof of funds works. So when it comes to proof of funds, there are two types of proof of funds. One is what we call a soft proof of funds, and another one is called a hard proof of funds. So this is some terminology that's used in real estate. And the idea here is that when you're out making cash offers, right? So you're making an offer to buy a property with cash. That's really important to do because it separates you from all of the financing contingency offers. So it'll put you a step above those offers. So I highly recommend that when you make offers, you make those offers as a cash offer. Now, if you're using cash, but you're using hard money or an asset lender or private money, you can still consider that cash, okay? It's not traditional financing where it's contingent upon a full approval process for traditional financing, right? So if you're using that kind of financing, then you can't say you're a cash offer. But it's completely acceptable in our industry to consider an offer where you're using hard money or you have a private money investor to say that you're a cash offer. Cash meaning that the funds are liquid and available. Now, to strengthen your cash offer, what you can do is you can provide a proof of funds letter. And that will make your cash offer stronger because it basically says you have funding that's backing you. So when the real estate agent or when the seller gets your offer and it says cash and you've got a proof of funds letter, then they feel better about it. They feel like it's a more legit offer because you have proof of funds. Okay, so that's kind of the premise of this. And if you're in my software program Flipster or in one of my other programs where we're offering you a proof of funds letter, I want you to know what kind of proof of funds letter that is and how to best use it, and some obstacles that may arise and how to overcome those. So first of all, let's talk about the difference between these two. So a soft proof of funds is like a pre-approval. Okay, it's basically saying that you have a relationship with a lending institution or a hard money lender or a private investor or whatever. But it's soft, it's a pre-approval. It doesn't mean that you're approved for financing on that particular deal. Okay, that would be a hard proof of funds. Hard proof of funds means that whoever's lending the money has seen the deal, they've seen the numbers, they've vetted the deal, and they've vetted you, and they've agreed that they're going to give you X dollars for that deal to buy it. Now, a hard proof of funds obviously would be ideal, it'd be the best you could provide, because it would say that that so-and-so person, is been fully approved for funding in the amount of whatever the purchase price is, let's say $75,000 on XYZ property with a specific property, right? So the money's here, you're approved for it for this dollar amount on this property, hard proof of funds. Well, here's the thing. Who's going to give a hard proof of funds? What lender will give a hard proof of funds? They will only give it once they've vetted the deal and vetted you and agreed to do that. Now, the only way they'll do that is if you have a deal under contract, right? So you will never get a hard proof of funds from somebody, from anybody, unless you've got the deal under contract, you presented it to them, they vetted it and agreed to do it. Okay? So how do you make an offer using a hard proof of funds? Well, you can't, because you have to have the deal under contract. It's the chicken before the egg, right? You first have to have the deal under contract to get a hard proof of funds. So what do you do to make an offer with a proof of funds? You use a soft proof of funds. And a soft proof of funds just says, pending approval and pending that the deal meets our criteria, this person is pre-approved for funding. Okay, so it's soft. It's not promising. It's not committing to the funding. It's not any of that. It's just saying that you have a relationship with a lending institution, and maybe they will, maybe they won't. They don't know yet because they haven't fully approved the deal, which would be a hard proof of funds. So this is really important to understand because a lot of people using my proof of funds get confused about this. So here's the problem that happens. This happens all the time, or not all the time, but it happens. You use my proof of funds, which by the way is a soft proof of funds. And it is the best proof of funds letter that you could get in the industry. Here's why. You could go to somebody else that provides proof of funds letters. And first of all, you'll have to call them. They'll have to, maybe they'll provide you this written letter, but it's a process. Sometimes it takes a couple days, which now you got to make your offer, so you're waiting for it. Sometimes they charge you for it, or they'll only give you a couple because it's like a lot of work every time they create those. Not me. Whatever program you're in, if you're in Flipster or one of my other programs where we offer this, it's custom. The letter has your name, has the address of the property you're making an offer on, and has the amount of the offer you're making. So it's still a soft proof of funds. I'm not promising to fund your deal. It's a soft proof of funds, but you can generate them like that, and you can do as many as you want for as many deals as you want. So it's really cool. So let's say that you get my soft proof of funds letter and you make an all cash offer, and this is typically what happens when there's an issue. The real estate agent comes back and says, oh, well, we got your offer, and we got your proof of funds letter, but you know what? We don't want a soft proof of funds. We want a hard proof of funds. And yet you're making the offer. So the problem here is what? Remember what I said? How do you provide a hard proof of funds when you're making an offer? Because no one's gonna give you a hard proof of funds until after you have the deal under contract. So there's a disconnect here. There's a problem here. Let me back up. There is one other way that you could do a hard proof of funds, and it would be if you yourself had the cash, or whoever your lending person is, and they provided you with a bank statement of liquid cash. So that is the other way. But if you're using financing, if you're using an investor, hard money, an asset lender, private money, somebody else's money, then they're not going to give you a hard proof of funds letter until after they've accepted your deal and accepted to fund your deal. Okay? So just like I explained. So how do we handle this situation? When you've made your offer, you've provided my soft proof of funds letter, and the agent comes back and says, I want a hard proof of funds letter. Well, here's what you do. You say to them, listen, I'm using hard money to purchase this deal, right? And I've got a relationship with them. I've got a proof of funds letter, and I will gladly give you a hard proof of funds letter from whatever lending institution I use once I get the deal under contract and I submit the deal for funding and they approve me. Right now though, I'm telling you that I don't have that because I can't, right? I don't have it under contract yet. So here's my soft proof of funds letter, right? So they're not understanding what it is you're doing or what's going on here. In most cases, here's why they have an issue, because I'll tell you what, we've been providing this for a while. We've had thousands of people successfully use our proof of funds letter with no issues whatsoever. The occasional issue comes up when an agent doesn't like it. And it's not the letter, because they should understand how this works. It's not the letter. They don't believe that you can close on the deal. They don't believe that you actually have funding behind you. So what they're saying is they don't trust you. Now they may not come out and say that. They may come out and say, I want a hard proof of funds letter, or I don't like your proof of funds letter. Prove to me that you actually have the money. But it's the agent that has the issue. It's not the process, it's not the letter, it's the agent. The agent doesn't believe that you have the money for the deal. Whatever you did, whatever you said, they're not convinced of that. And so they don't want to go get deals under contract. They don't want to make offers for you unless they feel secure that you have the funding. So here's what I tell people when an agent says, oh, we don't like your proof of funds letter. I say, you need to find a new agent, because there's nothing wrong with this proof of funds letter. It works over and over again, and thousands of people have used it successfully. It's what I use when I make offers. It's what everybody uses. So it's your agent that's got the problem, and you need a new agent when this happens, is really what it comes down to. So tell your agent, listen, that's my proof of funds letter. That says I have a relationship with a lending institution. Once we get the deal under contract, I would be happy to provide you a hard proof of funds letter once it's been fully approved. And that's what you tell them. And if they're not okay with your proof of funds letter, when you're submitting your offers, you need to find a new agent, because it's the agent's issue, not the letter's issue. My proof of funds letter, like in my Flipster program, if you're watching this and you're in my Flipster program, I'm providing the proof of funds letter as a service or a benefit to you. I'm actually not committing to funding your deals in Flipster, but I'm providing you a way to allow you to make cash offers. What does that mean? Use my letter. Use it as many times as you want on as many offers as you want, but know that if your deal gets accepted, you are going to need to actually get hard money from a lending institution or private money, or however you're funding the deal. You're going to actually need to get that once your deal is accepted and under contract. Again, my proof of funds letter is provided to you as a service, as a benefit, and it's super simple. It's customized to you, your address, and your offer price. It's awesome for submitting and making cash offers. Okay, so I know I covered a lot there. Let me just do a really quick overview. Soft proof of funds is a pre-approval letter. It says you have a relationship with funding. There's backing behind you. The purpose of that isn't to provide funding. It's not committing funding. All it's doing is it's supporting your all cash offer so that the agent and the seller see that you've got some sort of backing, right? And then once you actually get your deal under contract, you will then be able to submit your deal to a funding source, and that funding source will then be able to give you a hard proof of funds, a commitment letter, a funding commitment letter once you've been fully approved for that particular deal, for that particular amount of the purchase or whatever. You can watch a quick tutorial video about how to use the proof of funds letter. It's really easy. Fill out a couple blanks, hit go, boom, it provides it for you. It stores it all in a dashboard, so you always have them. You can refer back to them. You can include them. You can email them right from the system. It's really cool, really awesome system. I've never seen a better system for generating custom proof of funds letters for your deals. All right, so good luck. I'm excited for you. Use it. It's an awesome service. It will help you get deals, and you'll be able to make those all cash offers so that you've got a really strong offer when you go out there in the marketplace. All right, Jerry Norton, and I'll see you soon.